There are moments in life that change you forever. Not the big, obvious ones, not graduations or promotions or the day you first put on a uniform and felt something shift deep inside your chest. No, the moments that truly change you are the quiet ones. The ones where someone you love looks you in the eye and asks you to be less. My name is Sarah, and I served my country for 6 years. 6 years of early mornings and freezing nights. 6 years of missing birthdays, holidays, phone calls, and Sunday dinners. 6 years of carrying weight, physical, emotional, invisible, so that the people I loved could sleep safely at night without ever knowing the cost. I was proud of that. Deeply, quietly, completely proud. So when my brother Daniel called me 3 weeks before his wedding, I answered on the first ring. I was excited. Daniel was getting married to a woman named Clarissa, beautiful, polished, the kind of person who planned everything down to the color of the napkins. And I was going to be there. In uniform. Proud. But that's not what Daniel called to say. His voice was strange. Careful. Like he was choosing each word the way you'd step across thin ice. Sarah. Clarissa's family, they're very traditional. Very image-conscious. And she's worried that if you show up in your uniform, it might distract from the wedding. Make it political. You know how people are. I remember the silence that followed. The way my hand tightened around the phone. The way my throat felt suddenly dry. She wants me to hide my uniform, I said slowly. Not a question. A confirmation. Just wear something civilian. A nice dress. You'll still be there, Sarah. That's what matters, right? I told him I'd think about it. But what I didn't tell him, what I couldn't say in that moment, was that the uniform wasn't just fabric. It wasn't decoration. It was every sacrifice I had ever made. Every goodbye I had ever swallowed. Every moment I had chosen duty over comfort, service over self. And my own family was asking me to fold it up and stuff it in a bag. I thought about it for 3 days. I cried once, quietly, alone, the way soldiers learn to cry. And then I made my decision. I was going to that wedding. And I was going in uniform. The wedding was held at a beautiful venue outside the city, white flowers, golden light, the kind of setting that looked like it belonged on a magazine cover. I arrived early. Alone. When my mother saw me walk through the door, her face went pale. She grabbed my arm before I could reach the reception hall and pulled me to the side. Sarah, please. Clarissa is already anxious. Can you just go change? I packed a dress in the car. No one will even notice. I looked at her. This woman who had hugged me every time I came home from deployment. This woman who had cried at my swearing-in ceremony. And now she was standing in front of me, eyes darting around the room, more worried about Clarissa's wedding aesthetic than her own daughter's dignity. I'm not changing, Mom, I said quietly. She didn't speak to me for the rest of the hour before the ceremony. Then came Clarissa's mother, elegant, sharp-eyed, wearing a smile that never reached her eyes. We appreciate your service, dear, she said, the word dear dripping like ice. But today is about family unity. Perhaps the military look is a bit much. A bit much. 6 years of my life. A bit much. I sat down in the third row. Alone. The people around me shifted slightly. Whispered. I felt their eyes like small stones. And then Daniel walked past me on his way to the altar. He looked at me, really looked at me, and for just 1 second, I saw something flicker in his eyes. Guilt, maybe. Or recognition. But it disappeared just as fast, replaced by a tense, apologetic smile. He didn't say a word. That was the moment that broke something in me. Not Clarissa. Not her mother. Not even my own mother's silence. It was Daniel, my big brother, the one who used to tell me I could be anything, walking past me like I was an inconvenience to be managed. I sat through the ceremony with my hands folded in my lap and my back perfectly straight. Because that's what they trained me to do. Hold your position. Stay composed. Even when everything inside you is burning. But something was shifting in that room. I could feel it slowly, quietly, like a tide turning. It happened during the reception. I hadn't planned it. I hadn't arranged anything. I was simply sitting at a table near the back, picking at my food, wondering how soon I could leave without making a scene. And then I heard a chair scrape. Then another. I looked up. 12 men and women, scattered across different tables, different ages, different faces, were standing up. One by one. Slowly. Deliberately. Each one of them in civilian clothes, but holding themselves the way only one kind of person does. Straight-backed. Steady. Like they'd stood at attention 1,000 times before. One of them, an older man with silver at his temples, walked toward me. He stopped at my table, placed his hand over his heart, and gave me a slow, deliberate nod. "Thank you for your service, soldier," he said. His voice was quiet, but in that room, it carried. And then the others did the same. One by one, they came. Some nodded. Some shook my hand. One woman, maybe 60, maybe 70, touched my shoulder and said nothing at all. She didn't have to. The room had gone completely silent. I looked up and found Daniel's face in the crowd. He was standing very still. And for the first time that evening, he didn't look away. I didn't cry. I had nothing left to prove, nothing left to hide, and nothing left to be ashamed of. I just sat there and let the moment be what it was, a quiet, powerful reminder that dignity cannot be hidden. It can only be recognized. I left before the cake was cut. 3 days later, Daniel called. He was quiet for a long time before he spoke. "I'm sorry, Sarah," he said. "I should have stood up for you." I told him I knew. And I told him I forgave him, not because what happened didn't hurt, but because carrying that weight wasn't something I was willing to do. I had already carried enough. Here is what I know now, on the other side of that day. You cannot love someone completely while asking them to be smaller. And no one, no wedding, no family pressure. No polished image is worth the cost of your own integrity. I wore my uniform that day because it was the truth of who I am. And in the end, 12 strangers understood that better than my own family did. Some people will ask you to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. Don't. The right people will always see you standing tall and stand with you.